A wise woman once told me, hydrate or dihydrate. I later married that woman. Everyone knows drinking water is important, so let's not waste time. TLDR, it's good for exercise, the mind, digestion, detoxing, temperature regulation, filling pools, joints, tissues, organs, muscles, skin, weight management, nutrients, transportation, and blood flow. There's almost nothing it isn't good for in your life. Your life habits around water matter. And if you do things right, you'll end up drinking about 60,000 large water bottles worth in your life. Or, expressed in backyard pools, you would have only drank through just one in your full life well lived. You've heard the 8x8 rule, which means you should drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day. But no one drinks 8 glasses of water in a day. My AI companion has no idea where the 8x8 folklore came from, and if you've tried it, you know you'll end up peeing something like 8 times 8 as well. If you can do 3rd grade math, that's 64 ounces. But in 2004, some science org you won't remember the name of said men should have about double that and women about 50% more than 64 ounces. You are now peeing 12 to 16 times a day. And if you stick around, I'll explain why I think there's better ways to live. Hydration also comes from more than just drinks. A good bit, typically 25%, comes from our food, especially fruits and vegetables. But a very large government organization says Americans actually drink 39 ounces. And I think for a lot of people, it's far less. Whatever the number, the truth is counting ounces does not work. And I'm going to propose better methods. Before that, on this channel, we have 3 rules. 1, fast. We care a lot about the 20% of effort that gives 80% of results. 2, actually easy. No nonsense saying things are easy when they're not. 3, quality opinions never bought. We choose our brands, not the other way around. If that sounds valuable to you, please subscribe so you can find us later and others can too. We're on a mission to get to 43 subscribers by the end of 2025, so please lend a click. This is not a video on being perfect. This is me telling you what's reasonable and what I actually do. First principle for today is the kitchen organization effect. Rearranging your life to make good habits easy, placing healthy food front and center, and bad habits hard, bearing unhealthy frozen food, naturally leading you to a better life. Stick with me, we'll get to the concise water bottle recommendations soon. Next is the everyday at this time effect. Clayton Christensen says it's easier to do something 100% of the time than 99, 95, or even 90%. It's a paradox where doing more is actually easier, simply because you always do it. Your self-discipline and mental tanks are freed up as less decisions are made. Maintaining a diet 100% of the time is easier than 90%. Waking up relatively early every day is a lot easier than having a really different wake-up time for the weekend. In this situation, it's water, so let's just say that we'll do it every day no matter what, even on weekends. And the second piece of this effect James Clear calls habit chaining, because you set some rhythm to when you do it, attaching it to something else. Perhaps at 8 a.m. you fill your water bottle. Or even better, you might say, the first thing I do when I leave my room in the morning and walk into the kitchen is I fill my water bottle. Let's bring it all together. Here's what it could look like for you. I'll only consider vacuum seal bottles because if my water is cold, I'll naturally end up drinking a lot more. I'll get a 32-ounce bottle because it's the perfect blend of fit in my car holder, not annoying and heavy to lug around, and not have to refill it constantly and it always be empty. Every morning, chained to some other daily habit, I'll fill my water bottle. And now here's a recommendation experts won't tell you since telling you reasonable advice is bad for their image. Just focus on filling it in the morning and drinking all of it by a certain time each day. That way, between that and other assorted hydration sources, you'll at least have gotten 80% of the way with 20% of the effort. Continuing on, I might get a second water bottle for placing both in 2 convenient locations. At home, I have a specific place for it, same for at work. Every time I work out, I have a full water bottle with me since it's easier to want to drink lots of water then. And I'll have finished my water bottle by dinner time every day. Those are just ideas. Other ideas is you could literally buy a water bottle that puts a schedule on there for you. I'll put some links down below, but I prefer one that keeps my water cold. Also, most times people set lofty goals, it doesn't last, and they end up worse off than if they just stuck to a reasonable goal like what I'm recommending. Enough of this habit stuff. Today, I bring you my #1 favorite pick for a water bottle. I did thorough research, but I'm also not going to give you an overwhelming 24-minute detailed analysis like the top YouTube results. I don't need to recommend a water bottle for every person and use case. One that's great for 80 to 90% of cases is perfect for this channel. First, some rapid fire rejects, though the links are still in the description. CAMELBAK. The squeeze ones just don't keep it cold much at all. The regular ones, I'm not considering, since I think a water bottle is an extremely worthy investment for holistic health and performance, and CAMELBAK's insulated ones just don't seem as good as the other options. Next, Hydroflask. I'm biased toward them since I grew up in Oregon where they're founded, and yet I still have never owned one. They're the true OGs in water bottles from the last decade, but they cost way too much for something that's probably coming out of just about the exact same factories as their knockoffs. Next, Iron Flask. Not the best in 2024, but this is what I've been using for the last 7 years. It wins our 2024 Best Hydroflask Knockoff, probably from the same factory award. They started humbly, but have been an Amazon banger this whole time, and now they have a bazillion colors like Hydroflask, though not as well curated. They also come with multiple caps, unlike Hydrocash. I've always covered their logo with a sticker, and you can too, so no one knows you're poor. Ending the Hydroflask segment, this attachment deserves an award. You can either sip or chug it, and it has a nice clip thing. I've used it for many years. Without boring you to death, just know that I think this one's the best. Final word. Hydroflask does have some really dope colorways you won't find anywhere else, so if you're like our designer and video editor, it could be worth the money. We've linked her 3 favorites below. Stanley. This has got to be the most popular water bottle right now, and probably since Hydroflask blew up in 2012 or so. If I'm honest with you, I've only seen one man use it though, and his 2 high school daughters and wife all have Stanleys. I just think the industrial design is a little more feminine, but that's a personal opinion. If you're a woman that likes to have what everyone else has, even if it's expensive, this is for you. Best Stanley alternative. This is much cheaper. It's what my wife actually uses every day, and it's a more generalized, minimalist design and doesn't say white sorority girl as much. Good muted colorways too. Yeti is super expensive like Hydroflask and Cash, and it's more of an adventure brand. They have some famous models I'll link to though. Most people equate them to these insulated coffee cups with magnet sliders. And finally, the actual favorite find, the unequivocal #1 best water bottle of 2024 is the newcomer, Owala Free Sip, my personal daily drinker. They clearly have some skilled designers on their team as the colorways are both original and tasteful. It feels premium and intentional. It doesn't feel particularly gendered. This button, quick spring releases, and you can sip pretty fast from the straw thing. So in no time at all, you're hitting your water goals and life goals, which, as I hope you got from this video so far, is pretty great. Then they have this totally original spout that is really satisfying to sip on, kind of like those lids you sometimes get from a $6 iced coffee. But it has 2 options to it, and you can still chug it. Then when you look inside, you can see that it's got a straw that flows seamlessly into the sipping spout. Some don't like straws for a variety of reasons. This feels like it avoids a lot of that, and the straw also feels higher quality. It screws and unscrews super easily. I've found it all easy to wash, and the integrated clip is appreciated too. It fits in my backpack side pocket and feels a lot slimmer than other 32-ounce alternatives. It's just better and feels like the next leap forward in water bottles since 2010. Owala. If you see this, email me. Here's your rundown to turn this video into life change. They're short questions so that you can answer them in your head and get it all done in less than 2 minutes. If you can, you should pause the video now and just knock it out so it actually happens. This is a new channel. At Favorite Finds, we believe in researched, concise value. If you don't want this fire hose to end, please subscribe. Once again, we're trying to reduce our carbon emissions by 13% and reach 42 subscribers by the end of 2030. If you know anyone who drinks water, or really should, you know those people, hit the share button right now and choose 2 people to DM this to. This is a delay, so you can ponder who you should DM this to.